I looked at it and like there were just little things that I went, well, if I could do this specifically, that's going to save a bunch of money. And if I can't do that, then I'll hire somebody. And there were just little things. It's replacing flooring. Well, I know that if I hire someone to come in here and replace this flooring, they're going to tear this out anyway. So why don't I just start by tearing out this flooring?
Yep.
I'll buy my own stuff. I'll try it. And then if it works out, great. If not, I'll tear it out again. Then I'll hire somebody.
Hi, I'm Steven Wachek, one of the owners and coaches here at Forge Fitness. A lot of people ask, what do we do here? Well, we focus on your longevity, meaning we focus on your health and the quality of your life as you age. So by the time you get to the end of your life, we want you to be able to do things that you want to do and enjoy. We take a lot of pride in the community that we've built, knowing that our members come for a great workout, but they stick around because of the community and the friendships that they have. If interested in joining us at Forge, we offer a 7-day free trial. And you can find us at www.forgefitness.co, or you can find us on Facebook or Instagram.
Everybody, it is the Buffalo Community Podcast. We have a quasi-familiar guest with us, Erik Olson, or you might remember him as your YouTube favorite fan star of House Hacks. We're going to talk about DIY stuff in a broad spectrum, but we want to maybe dabble in a little bit of a chat GPT, of just maybe provide, what did you say, Mark?
Outline for a podcast about do-it-yourself projects.
Do-it-yourself projects.
I feel like I'm the test dummy here to see if this works or not.
Emphasis on dummy.
Yeah, but now when we knock this out of the park, we have to give credit to
ChatGPT.
ChatGPT instead of people thinking we're just
So regardless,
brilliant.
I don't get any credit here.
No.
Nice.
Introduction, your weekly inspiration, a project of the week, guest segment, and tips and hacks, and sustainability in DIY. All right, and listener participation. So
that's dumb.
yeah. So we're not going to do the ChatGPT a little
Yeah,
bit.
because our ideas are way better.
Yeah, we put saunas in bathtubs, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Erik, you've renovated a couple of homes that you've lived in, and it's kind of been your little, family project, kind of grow up.
I call it my way of kind of real estate investing. I haven't bought rentals or done flips that I haven't lived in. It's kind of been like the live-in flips. It started a little bit I'd say kind of on accident. I was looking for my first house with Tyler. We went out and looked at a few homes, and I had totally was planning on buying 2 specific houses. Neither one of them were big DIY projects. And my dad actually said, if you want to try to build a little equity, this one here in Buffalo actually has a unfinished basement, and if you did that, you fix it up, you might be able to get a little bit of equity out of that in a couple years. So I finished the basement, did some of the projects on my own, really didn't do a whole lot throughout the rest of the house. And then we also rode the market up. Like, I won't deny that was a big part of it.
Genius.
You drove the market up is what you did.
So we sold that house, and we made some money, and I kind of went, oh, wow, look at that. So we did that, then had the intention of doing that. My plan was, I'm going to do this 4 times. We're going to make enough money, buy a house for cash. That's going to be our forever home. That didn't work out because we got into the next house, which was a significantly bigger project. That one was full renovation through the main floor, upstairs, where we pretty much gutted the house, finished the basement, and that one was a huge project. But at the same time, it was, my plan is to be in and out in 2 years. After 2 years, it was 2021. The market was going crazy. We tried a couple times to buy a house, and we were looking at other fixer-uppers, or we were looking out in the country, and the market was just insane. We had put an offer in on one house, I think listed at $450. We offered like $487 or something like that, and didn't get it. There were 14 offers on the house, and I just went, oh, wow, this is amazing. And so at that point, we just kind of, we said we were stuck at that point, and we kind of just planned on living in that house for a while.
You were stuck in a very beautiful home that you renovated.
Yeah, that's why I say stuck with air quotes. It was an awesome place. And so we kind of just planned on just staying there for a while until this new one came up that we just moved into this last spring. And I like to tell people we have a specialty, cat pee houses.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
The last one I think was dogs, but this one was definitely cats. It was funny when we got there for the original walkthrough with Tyler. I didn't know that the house was for sale or anything. We walked into it and I kind of went, I kind of like this house. It's dirty.
Yeah.
But we walked
You're
through.
talking about your current house?
Our current house, yeah.
I didn't even go in it. Like because we were previewing it.
You said you didn't want to. That's
You're
right.
an agent as well, so we were previewing
Yes.
it, and I could smell it from outside, and we couldn't get the door open.
So I walked through. I was like, I kind of like this house, and so we had walked through. I'm like, it's dirty. It needs a lot of attention. Well, when I went back for the inspection after we got the offer accepted, there were dead mice because the cats had gotten them just on the carpet. There was cat poop in the basement, and we were just like, oh, okay. So you did clean it up to show it.
Oh, wow.
It didn't look like it.
And so we got into that house.
Then you liked it even more.
Then we liked it even more. Yeah. But yeah, ended up, so kind of doing those live-in flips has been pretty good to us. It got us into the house that we're ultimately in now. And what I've told people is a house I probably wouldn't have been able to afford if it was in great condition. And so we got into it and fixed it up. It's out in the country and we love it out there now. But I just enjoy doing the projects, certain projects.
Yeah.
How many mice did you find?
I forgot what the exact number was, but we had a laundry room that had a
ticker?
Had paneling. Yeah. No, we had paneling on it. And I kept walking into that room. I was like, man, this room just stinks. And we were going to just paint the paneling white and call it good. And I was like, you know what? We got to get this out of here. Like, this room just smells. So I pulled it back, and some of the panels were clear. There was nothing behind them, but there was like 3 panels that I pulled back. Literally piled, piled inches deep were dead mice. And I think one might have been a weasel.
So did they fall through?
It was like white. I think they like fell through and then couldn't get back up or something. Like, what I've seen mice go up walls before. Like, they should be able to get out of that cavity. So I don't know if they got poisoned and just died down there, but it was literally piled with dead mice. It was so gross, and it just reeked.
You said this house just keeps getting better and better.
It just keeps getting better.
Well, this was after you owned it, so
this was well after we owned it. Yeah. And so that one was gross. I think it was in the 80s. It was like 80 something dead mice. Because what I told Tyler is like, as gross as it sounds, the one thing that doesn't disintegrate on them was their vertebrae and tail. So I was able to kind of count vertebrae.
Yeah. Wow.
Or
different
spine, I guess to say. So
cool. So that's kind of your history of buying and flipping houses. Okay.
Living in a house and increasing the value.
Right. So where did you develop your confidence to be able to do a lot of the work that you take on? So tell us some of the work that you do, maybe some of the work you don't do, and how you got to that point of, I don't want to look at that. How you got there.
Sure. So I had grown up doing some house projects. My parents had me help out with a lot of stuff around the house. And that was even doing some interior work, just finishing a garage, stuff like that. So that's where I started. In the first house, it was just finishing the basement. So then it was, well, how do I hang sheetrock? I had learned to mud from like doing mudding and taping for the drywall, from people who were doing it in their houses. And so I think my dad actually taught me how to do that. I don't remember where, but yeah, I just remember him saying, well, it's not just, he's like, it's kind of an art to the people that do it the right way. And I was like, oh, totally. Okay. And kind of learned about, it was in their garage at their new house. I remember just kind of learning how to do the mudding and taping and going, I'm figuring this out. So that gave me the confidence to do it. Now I've done it at a few houses, I feel pretty good about this. Mm-hmm. And I'm not as good as the professionals. I watch them do it and just go, that is so amazing.
Yeah.
But, I've done a lot of that. I do the electrical work, and I got confidence from that one. It was, quite honestly, black wire to black wire, white wire to white wire. Like, I know it's significantly more difficult than that. I'm not talking down electricians' work at all.
We also practiced on the house I currently live in.
I practiced on that house.
Yeah. That fire was not even a total loss.
Yeah.
Like that was.
But what really helped with that is that because you have to have you do an inspection for that, and so I would have the Wright County inspector come out, and he would take a look at it and go, fix this, fix this, fix this, and I was like, okay, well, I feel like I'm learning how to do it, and I have the confidence of someone coming out and really taking a thorough look at it. Like he really was rough on us.
Well,
like
especially an at-home DIYer, right?
Yeah,
Versus a contractor who they're going to pick that apart.
Yeah.
The key part being, yes, as a homeowner, you can do your own work, but you're also still required to get the permits pulled and completed and inspected. So that was the big key. So don't take this the wrong way when he said he's doing his own work.
Yeah,
he's
so
doing the right
we
process
pulled the
too.
permits. I did the electrical. I had him out there, and he would rip it apart. I would fix those things. And so by the time that we've gotten to more recent projects and we're having the electrician look at them, I'm maybe getting 1 or 2 dings instead of, hey, here's 16 things that you need to fix in this house. So, and then I've been I did a little bit of the plumbing, but all of that, again, permits are needed for, they'll check framing, insulation, plumbing. They do the plumbing, HVAC, electrical, like they check all of that stuff. And so it's just having a second set of eyes out there, and quite honestly, a lot of it's, YouTube University, I guess we call it. So learning how to do a lot of stuff on YouTube. And then just kind of, I hate to say trial and error, but for a lot of those, a lot of the cosmetic stuff, you can screw it up and go, okay, I guess I'm going to try to fix this again. Like there are plenty of times where I do something and go, I don't like how that turned out. Let's start this over or do it the right way. So.
Speaking of YouTube University, you have a YouTube channel, House Hacks, and I mean,
not anymore.
I mean, it still exists.
It still exists,
but you're not active on it or anything like that. No. But I mean, you've got a how to clean matted carpet, and that's got 59,000 views, and that was kind of more of a surprise. It was just like, hey, you just kind of want to do this as a part of content creation for your own job.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, it's got like 8,000 views and 10,000 views, and oh, now it's as of today, it's like 59,000 views.
Yeah.
So you're like, when you YouTube cleaning matted carpet, you're the first one that pops up.
Yeah, we just checked it. So
now you're like a professor at
man.
YouTube University.
YouTube.
Are you gonna get a monocle?
Yeah.
No. But
No.
how?
Great question.
Yeah.
That one was, but that one was
problem.
funny because we bought cheap carpet because we were just like, oh yeah, what's the difference in carpet qualities? Well, I learned pretty quickly. You buy the cheap stuff and it wears away pretty quickly. So we had matted carpet on our staircase, and I was like, I am so sick of looking at this. So then what I did was I Googled, how do we do this? Well, there was like 15 different responses of, this is what you should do to make your matted carpet better. It's supposed to fluff it up, clean it, all that stuff. And some of them were just as simple as put ice on your carpet. I was like, what is ice going to do? That's just going to make it wet.
Right.
And so like I just went on my staircase and I just dedicated 2 stairs at a time to these different techniques, or tried it on different spots. And some of them worked very well. Some of them, spoiler alert, the ice didn't really work. I was like, yeah, it's just wet carpet now. Thanks.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, there was some stuff that worked pretty well. Surprisingly, carpet cleaner.
Yeah.
You know,
Wasn't that the number one?
Look at that, this carpet cleaner. So,
Yeah.
But so that was the channel that I had for a little while, as I was I called it like getting your house ready to sell. And I went through a few things because that's when I thought we were getting our house ready to sell, just to find out that we wouldn't be selling for another couple of years. I even had one of Tyler's friends called me out. They're just like, how long are you going to be getting your house ready to sell? Because we're a year into this or something like that. So
Do you remember who that was?
I don't.
Yeah. Sounds like Mike. Anyway, so you're in a bunch of different houses. You see varying degrees of DIY. I mean, that's there. I mean, do you have any experience with DIY?
I'm terrified of it. Like, that's why I'm just so in awe of just I feel like you have way more confidence than you should, and it's really paid off.
Be that confident,
You
Eric.
shouldn't be that confident, and I can't flip that switch in my brain to be like, I can figure this out, right? And because I'm so confident that I'm going to end up trying it. It's going to be terrible. I'm going to spend the money trying to do it, and then I'm going to hire a contractor to come in and do it right when I've
Sure. Well, see, and I think maybe you're thinking about starting projects that are just too big to begin with.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm going to tear this wall out and I'm going to do all this, and
right.
this.
Oh, that was a load-bearing wall.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Or nor.
Yeah.
So I looked at it and there were just little things that I went, well, if I could do this specifically, that's going to save a bunch of money. And if I can't do that, then I'll hire somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And they were just little things. It's replacing flooring. Well, I know that if I hire someone to come in here and replace this flooring, they're going to tear this out anyway. So why don't I just start by tearing out this flooring?
Yep.
I'll buy my own stuff. I'll try it. And then if it works out, great. If not, I'll tear it out again. Then I'll hire somebody. And that kind of worked out. And there was some of it where I just went, well, I don't think that this is going to fail. Like I tiled,
Sure.
in the first house, I tiled our bathroom floor. And I looked at it, I go, I know that there are things that could go wrong. And I had spent, like, there were some parts of it that didn't look fantastic, but in terms of, well, I put the tile in.
Right.
Like I didn't think there was a whole, now I think a big barrier to entry is the tools. Now I knew that I enjoy that kind of work. I wanted to do a lot of that work. So I was like, well, this is a good investment, but just even finding a tile saw, I had to find a friend who had a tile saw. Mm-hmm. You have to get a lot of those tools. So there can either be a big investment or if it's inconvenient to find it. So there are things I still hire stuff out.
Sure.
Is there something you wouldn't do?
I have no interest in ever doing carpet. So just having a professional install carpet.
Stretch it.
Yeah. All that. One, I don't think it looks fun. I don't think it seems like a great project that I really want to do. And then just hiring it out, it gets done quickly. It gets done professionally really well. And I don't know how to put the seams in the carpet together, any of that kind of stuff. And I've seen enough carpet where it's done poorly, even by professionals. And because we've seen a lot of houses, like Tyler said, we go into a lot of houses and I go, carpet seam. It stands out. And I just kind of say, that's just something I'm not interested in doing.
Yeah.
Roofing a house, I'm never going to roof a house.
Right.
And I've had people tell me, oh, you can do that. That's not that bad. And
it's not fun.
Eric has back issues.
I have back issues, but it's
That's
also one of
podcast.
those. It's also one of those things where that's the first thing that any weather is going to encounter on my house. I'd like to have it done really, really well. Mm-hmm. So, and that's kind of the same with a lot of exterior stuff. I haven't really done windows, siding, anything like that. I've just kind of said, hey, you know what? That's kind of the exterior barrier that protects the house, and I want to make sure that there's not extra water getting in, anything like that. So maybe in the future, I had someone tell me, oh, you can do windows. I'll teach you how. Maybe I'll learn, but as of right now, I haven't really done it yet.
Let's practice on someone else's house.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, you got a rental that needs a new window?
Yeah.
I like that. Anything else you want to, any tips that you would give any first-time DIYer?
I think that YouTube is the best. I mean, you can learn to do anything on there. And the other thing that I have learned, and it took me till my third house to figure it out, is don't settle for just good enough. As you'll be finishing things and you go, that's good enough. Or you do something, you go, it doesn't look perfect, but it's good enough.
It's not.
I always regretted it. Or even just buying cheap materials. I've always regretted that. So in like my house that I'm doing right now, I'm putting in doors and stuff. I've had them where it's like, well, I put the level up to the door frame and it's on like the one side of the bubble, but it's still technically in between the lines. So it's level. Well, then next thing you know, you hang a door, and by the time it gets out to the end of the door is hitting the carpet as it swings open. And I go, no, it needs to be perfect. Like, and so I feel like I've learned that where it's you make it as best as you can, not just good enough.
Yeah.
And it's the same with materials. I had made a shelf that went along a wall, and it was like on top of the foundation block where it meets where the stud wall is. So there's just a little shelf along the windows in a basement. And I had used a cheaper wood. It still looked nice. It still worked nice. But when you get up to it, it's like, well, I can see the imperfections. It started to curl a little bit after a few years. In our new house, I was putting up a wood beam, and as much as I don't want to spend, I think it was like $70 on one pine board, the select pine from Menards that was 1x10 and 10 feet long. And it's like, I'm spending I need two of these, and I'm going to spend $140 on two boards. It looks so much nicer than the stuff that I did in our other house. So just spending the money on the quality materials, learning that that's the way to do it and do it right.
And do it to the best of your ability.
Yeah.
That's great advice.
Yeah. Although I was only looking for 1 point of
fail.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, but he's a great DIYer. Can't count. But Erik, thanks for popping into the studio for this episode of the Buffalo Community Podcast.
Whoa.
I'm Tyler.
I'm Mark.
And I'm Erik.
Thanks for listening to the Buffalo Community Podcast, produced by Edlund Media. You can find us on Facebook and YouTube, as well as anywhere you listen to podcasts.